And away we go. It is the Nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you as always by our friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get it delivered to your house or stop in at their location down in Dayton. Tell them to pump it up and save yourself 15% off. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Chad.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right.
Been a busy day. Kelsey's birthday.
I can imagine.
I made the peach and blueberry cobbler tonight to go with. Did a little. So tomorrow night we're going out to dinner for her birthday. The place she wanted to go, Naughty Pine, tonight is closed on Mondays. Okay. So we're going there tomorrow. So tonight I said, pick something. I'll make something at home. She went with breaded pork chops, which is I love breaded pork chops. You know what I bread them in?
I don't.
Ritz crackers, crushed up Ritz crackers, and then pan fry in a shallow layer of grease, and they were excellent. We had some macaroni and cheese. I made the peach and blueberry cobbler for dessert. I haven't had any because I took it out of the oven right before we started working.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to having some when we get done with the nightcap. A little scoop of Kelly went to UDF, got some vanilla bean ice cream.
So, vanilla bean's the way to go anytime you're doing pie.
Yeah, pie, cobbler.
Yeah.
Like a pan, skillet cookie, brownie. You got to go vanilla bean ice cream. Yep. So we're going to get that rolling here when we get done.
That yellow vanilla stuff's trash.
Yeah, no, you got to go vanilla bean. It's where it's at. So let's get this ball on the road. Maybe I can get Shane. I'll give him the recipe. He can do the cobbler at Galactic.
There you go.
Probably not. I don't think it goes well. I don't think it'll work in a fryer.
Deep fried cobbler.
Deep fried cobbler. Like, let's go. That sounds fucking awesome. Actually, you make the cobbler and then you ball it up, fry it. Anyhow. Ivan Pace to Sean Pace on the Butkus Award watch list. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Brothers? When have you ever seen brothers on a watch list?
Yeah.
No, not here.
No. I had an interesting thought today. Before we really get into like the nuts and bolts of linebacker, I had an interesting thought today. So Deshaun Pace and Ty Van Fossen are going to split snaps at sniper. Like, we know that. We've seen that. We saw what it looked like. It looked like the most productive player in the country at any position. Because both of them look like, if you look at their stats, both of them look like they played every snap. Yeah. But, they were about 50-50, and both of them were amazing in that role. Do you think maybe they look to like get them on the field together? Like when Pace is at sniper, you put, when Deshaun's at sniper, you maybe put Ivan in next to him. Just those two guys have played so much football together their entire lives that you play off that maybe a little bit.
With the amount of defensive players that you had leave this past season, nothing that either the defense or the offense, for that matter, throws out there this year is going to surprise me.
We all anticipate Jaheim Thomas is going to be
a workhorse,
a big-time player, big-time player.
Yeah.
And that's the same spot that Ivan Pace is playing, or at least that's where Ivan Pace was at that weak side linebacker throughout spring. Mm-hmm. And then Wilson Huber in the middle, like we fully expect Wilson Huber to take the majority of the snaps at middle linebacker. Like, that's your quarterback on the defense. That's a guy that they are counting heavily on to be a leader and whatever.
Sure.
I'm just curious, like, with their instincts and the way both of them play the game, like, would you maybe see what it looked like to get the two of them on the field together, and then Jaheim Thomas maybe plays when Van Fossen's on the field? Or do you go with the formula they've used through most of the Fickle era, where the middle and weak side linebackers are, they don't rotate a ton.
I think that camp is for, along with the spring, but I think it's for experimenting with your toys, seeing what you got.
Are you saying camp is for experimenting? Because that's how I remember camp when I was a kid.
It's been a weird night.
I just had to make it a little, just a touch more weird than whatever the hell that BDP just was.
That's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's again, it's just one of those things where you have, a ton of time out to try out different things out there on the field that maybe you weren't able to try out with spring practices, and you're going full pads for a lot of the practices at higher ground.
Yeah, I mean, they do give them, they have days where they surprise them, and they expect that they're going to be out in the 95-degree heat in the pads, and they show up, and it's like helmets and shorts, and everybody's like, ah!
Right, but you're going to get to see a little bit more of the physicality that maybe you weren't able to see in spring practice. And so I think that kind of is where a guy like Ivan Pace is going to thrive. I mean, we saw him squat an insane amount at Squat Fest. I don't recall the number off the top of my head. What was it? 6? Was it over 6?
It was over 6.
6:30?
It was like 6:15 or 6. It was up there. It was way up there.
So it's just I think that when you have a physical guy like Ivan Pace, you wanted to see some of those things in real time. And same with Jaheim. Jaheim hasn't seen a ton of field practice, so I don't know right now that you're really making a terrible decision one way or the other. But Jaheim has been a very highly touted recruit.
Yeah.
And for him to have an opportunity, and I'd be shocked if he lost a ton of field time to Ivan Pace, but I don't know. Weirder things have happened coming out of camp.
Well, I guess here's the thing that gets interesting with Jaheim is we saw a little bit of this in the spring, where in past situations or in get after the quarterback situations, he moved down to essentially like the Maije 4-down edge rusher spot, and they went with more of a 4-3 or a 4-2-5. Do you see Ivan more there? Like, I think the interesting thing with Ivan Pace, and maybe it's a conversation for another day, but we've seen this with Colerain guys at UC forever, in that you put them on the field, you give them an opportunity, and they make plays. Like, we talked about with Ivan a lot during his recruiting process that, like, this kid should be higher ranked. Like, this kid was the defensive player of the year in the state of Ohio. Like, how is he not at least 88, 89, or into a 4-star? Like, none of it makes sense because you're looking at measurables and not tangibles. You're looking at intangibles and not tangibles. The tangibles were he was the best defensive player in the state of Ohio. His brother and UC got caught by this with Ivan. They didn't go after him because the measurement, the numbers didn't match up.
Correct.
And they offered him a walk-on spot initially, but they didn't offer him a full scholarship. And then he went to Miami, pretty much dominated at Miami.
He was
a third-team All-American linebacker?
Beast.
Yeah.
In the MAC.
So I think you have to consider that when you're looking at these two kids. And I know that, like, Jaheim is going to get a lot of time. Because I've seen Jaheim in the weight room. I've seen Jaheim on the field. He's trending towards being a guy that we talk about how good he was the last couple years of his time at UC.
Reverently, absolutely.
But you also have to, like, understand Ivan Pace, when he gets a chance, is going to make the most of it because that's just what those kids from Colerain do.
He's built like a wrecking ball.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually built like a bowling ball. Like if he did this, you could bowl him. His thighs are that big.
Mhm.
And it just gets back into like all the fascinating stuff we're going to be watching at camp. Like how much is he out there with the ones? You know, how much? Here's an interesting thing. I think from the perspective of covering camp and covering the team for as long as I have, a lot of times these guys that this is what year 3 of Luke talking about 1A, 1Bs. Like
Right.
we have 1As and 1Bs. The 1Bs don't spend a lot of time with the 2s, right? Like
Yeah.
the 1As and 1Bs switch in with the 1s and they alternate reps. And then you occasionally see one drop down and to get some, make sure they're getting all their work, drop down with the 2s. But that's a chance to bring somebody up from the 3s to the 2s, right? How much do we see Thomas and Pace just with the 1s where they're rotating in and out? Because that's where you're going to see Van Fossen and Pace, right? You're not going to see Deshaun and Van Fossen spending a lot of time playing sniper with the 2s.
Well, and you didn't see Van Fossen really with the 2s in the spring game.
Well, Pace was out.
Well, right.
Deshaun Pace didn't play in the spring game.
You did see Ivan Pace bouncing between the 1s and the 2s in the spring game.
Right. And that's why I'm saying I think it will be telling on what their plans are for Ivan. And maybe because he's a transfer, you need to get him those reps with the 2s to continue to acclimate to the system and know like what's expected of you, where you're supposed to be, what's your assignment, all that good stuff. But I'm just saying from past experience, I've seen the guys that are really, truly 1Bs don't spend a lot of time with the 2s. They just rotate with the 1As.
I don't even think we saw Jaheim with the 2s, if memory serves me.
No, I mean, he was a 1 at that. Like,
well, I mean,
again, it's camp, and he's supposed to be taking that step to replace Beavers. You have to get him as many reps with the 1 as humanly possible.
He's also not on the Butkus watch list.
Ivan Pace is. So is Nick Martiner. I think these watch lists might not accurately portray the Cincinnati roster in 2022. That's all I'm just, but fans that don't follow us or don't subscribe to Bearcat Journal,
they think
will
the big
see
question
things
mark,
like
quarterback,
Butkus watch list or Bolitnikov list and think, okay, Nick Martiner is our best wide receiver. Ivan Pace is one of our best defenders. Might be true, but there are other guys, and that's the whole point of the last 2 nights conversation that we've had. There are other guys that are going to have something to say about my name. You might have missed out on my name on that list.
Yeah,
because
I don't know that, but again, this goes back to why this year is so much more interesting.
Yeah,
for camp than last year, because there weren't these types of question marks. You really didn't have these types. You didn't have these types of question marks anywhere.
No, we knew all the answers to all the questions basically going into last year.
What was it? Offensive line? Maybe you had question marks last year.
You know what this also does show, though? Man, they've done a great job in the transfer portal. Like you don't see them get the flashy, like, here's the top 20 transfers in the nation. But what you see them get are guys like Ivan Pace and Nick Martiner who are on watch lists.
Chad, you're talking about 2 of the highest rated recruits in UC's history, potentially not having positions on this year's team in Evan Prater and Jaheim Thomas because of incoming transfers.
Yeah.
Ben Bryant, who's a prodigal
Jaden
son.
Thompson's one of the highest rated recruits in UC football history.
That's another one. Great point.
I do that sometimes. Every once in a while. Not very often.
I don't like to give you compliments all too often.
I know. But, I mean, again, like that, that's how solid this foundation is that Luke Fickell has built they're crushing it with recruits. They're crushing it with transfers. They're crushing it with development. And we're heading into a camp that's all of that is like bubbling like a volcano with, 9 guys to the NFL and all 9 of those spots being up for grabs. So fun.
Mm-hmm.
So fun. Got anything else?
Raw bunnies.
It's the nightcap. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on rawbunnies.com.